Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for class 8th. This is our final class, which is going to be the sample paper. Herein what we are going to do is I'm going to give you a few guidelines and then we'll jump to the sample paper. So make sure you revise all the concepts before solving this class, before solving the sample paper. Alright, let's get started.
Now, first of all, before starting, I would like to give you a few tips on how to manage your time during the exam. Now, if you remember these tips, then they would definitely help you somewhat in the exam. All right, let's start. The first important thing is to read the entire question paper carefully. Now in so many questions, like especially those of tenses and those of say antonyms or synonyms, now many questions, if you don't read them carefully, even the reading comprehensions, if you don't read them carefully, then it's very likely that you will answer them incorrectly. It's very important to read it very carefully. All right. Then the second thing is to allocate enough time for each question as per their marks. Now, the HOTS questions. The HOTS questions, the last 5 questions of the Achievers section, they are very important because they carry double the marks. So it is important that you leave sufficient time for the Achievers section questions. And sometimes it is also preferable that you attempt those Achiever section questions first. क्योंकि अगर आप उन्हें पहले अटेम्प्ट कर लोगे तो आपका दिमाग उस टाइम फ्रेश है, राइट? तो आपने पहले वो 5 क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट कर लिए, सो यू आर क्लियर ऑन द फैक्ट दैट कि आपको चलो 5 जो डबल मार्क्स वाले क्वेश्चंस हैं वो सही हो गए. ऑलराइट, सो allocate enough time for each question as per their marks. Now, next, it is also important to leave sufficient time in the end to revise the paper. कि कहीं आपने कोई क्वेश्चन छोड़ तो नहीं दिया है, कहीं कोई क्वेश्चन स्किप तो नहीं हो गया है, या फिर कहीं बाय चांस सपोज यू सी आपने देखा कि हाँ इसका आंसर तो सी है, पर आपने OMR शीट में उसका आंसर बी मार्क कर दिया. So for all these things, it is very important to revise the paper in the end. All right. Alright, so the next point is, don't be afraid to guess. No negative marking. Now, as I have told you time and again that it is very important for you to attempt all the questions. Why? Because there is no negative marking. Suppose you don't know the exact correct answer to a question, but आप guess कर पा रहे हो कि शायद इसका ये होगा, तो it is very important कि आप उसे mark कर दो. जो भी आप guess कर पा रहे हो आप उसे mark कर दो, because there are chances कि वो सही हो सकता है. पर अगर आप उसे छोड़ आओगे, अगर आप उसे skip कर दोगे तो कोई भी scope नहीं है ना आपको marks मिलने का. Right? So don't be afraid to guess. The next question, next point, you can always come back to some questions in the end. Which means अगर कोई question आपको difficult लग रहा है या आपको लग रहा है I need more time to figure this out, so you can always mark it and come back to it in the end. So you can keep provision like this as well. Then, as I told you, if you finish early, revise the paper. And even if you don't, it is very important आप practice ही ऐसे करो कि आप paper time से पहले खत्म कर पाओ. That's why I've kept timers for you. कि आप timer के हिसाब से answer करोगे तो definitely you will be able to finish early and then revise the paper. And then it is very important to mark properly on the OMR sheet. अगर suppose जैसे मैंने आपको अभी बताया, आपने देखा आंसर तो B है पर आपने गलती से C मार्क कर दिया, तो आपका तो आंसर गलत हो गया ना. आपको पता है फिर भी आपने गलत मार्क कर दिया तो इसको मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे. So very important to mark properly. और OMR शीट पे भी यूज दिस HB ब्लैक पेंसिल, उसमें ना बॉक्स को जो सर्कल है to fill it completely properly. All right, so you have to take care of these instructions. Now let's move on. Now we are going to start with the final quiz. All right, now brace yourselves, bring in your pen and paper, and we will be starting with our final quiz. Let's start. All right, so for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. All right. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. All right, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO. So it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. All right, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. All right, now let's start. Okay, now first of all we start with the word and structure knowledge. This is the first section, and here in each question an achiever section will have 3 marks, whereas all other questions they will carry 1 mark each. All right, achiever section 3 marks, whereas all other questions they will be carrying 1 mark each. We'll be doing word and structure knowledge. All right, let's start. Okay, here we have for questions 1 to 24, choose the correct word or phrase to complete each sentence. So like fill in the blanks. I'm pretty sure you know the drill. We have solved so many questions together. So let's see. Example is ice floats if you dash it in water. Ice floats if you drops, drop, dropped or can drop. So here the correct answer is B and you just mark it like that. And for you, however, I would request you to do it on the OMR sheet you have or otherwise just write down because you can't really be marking it over here, right? So, well, let's start. The first question says, after many meetings and much study, the dash to move was made by the school board. Okay, the decidedly, the decisive, the decision, or the deciding. Okay, so herein, what do we have to fit? We have to fit a noun. The noun is C. The decision to move was made by the school board. Okay, the decision. This is a noun. The others you see decidedly, this could be, it is an adverb, and decisive is an adjective. Deciding. Now deciding could be a noun as well. Sometimes if you deciding factor, deciding situation like that. But here deciding, it could also be the gerund of decide. Decide is a verb, D-E-C-I-D-E. And to form a gerund, we add ing. So deciding, it could be a gerund as well. Okay, here the answer is C, a noun. Decision. Okay, here we have, I think this bag is dash because I saw that girl put it down. I think the bag is she, the bag is hers, the bag is her, or the bag is she's. Okay, here we have to fit in what? This is a question of pronouns. We have to fill in possessive pronoun, hers. I think this bag is hers, right? Because I saw that girl put it down, girl. This is a singular and third person and female, so we use her. Hers. And why hers? Because you see here, here we're not using a noun. So if we would have used a noun, then we would have said we would have said this bag belongs to her. But here we say this bag is hers, not using a noun. So that's why we use hers with an S. Here she is a personal pronoun, and she's, this is a contraction which stands for SHE, she, and is, right? Okay. Okay, here we have often the biggest problem with my dash is that my style is weak. With my painting, with my painted, with my paint, or with my paints. Okay, often the biggest problem with my painting. Here, trying to describe an activity as well with my painting. Okay, this is a noun acting like a noun over here. Here, painted, verb, ed. This is the V2, V3 form. Then paint, it can be a noun as well. And the paint could be referred to as a noun and it can be used as a verb as well. Then paints can be used as a noun as well and can be used as the verb and its simple present form with an S. Here the correct answer is A. Often the biggest problem with my painting is that my style is weak. Alright. Okay, next up, the new gym building dash over the summer break and should be ready soon. Is built, had been built, was built, or was being built. Okay, so here the correct answer is D. The new gym building was being built over the summer break and should be ready soon. Okay, was being built over the summer break. Why was being built? Because here you see this is an action for telling about the past. It was happening in the past over the summer break. Over the summer break, during the summer break. The summer break, first of all, has been completed, and second of all, we're talking about a certain span of time. Whenever we're talking about a span of time, we use continuous tense. So over the summer break was being built, right? Others you see is built is present tense, then was built past tense, had been built is past perfect tense. Okay. Okay, next up we have in the wild, it has been noticed that animals often behave very dash towards their newborns. Very gently, very greatly, very blandly, or very fatly. Okay, here the correct answer, pretty easy, is A, gently. All of these are what? This is a question of which grammar topic? This is adverbs. Adverb. All of these are adverbs of manner, answering the question of how. Right? Here we have in the wild, it has been noticed that animals often behave very gently. Okay? Gently is like in a soft manner. Okay, next up we have dash. I hadn't been expecting any visitors. I was wearing pajamas when the doorbell rang. While I hadn't been expecting, why I hadn't been expecting, since I hadn't been expecting, or due to I hadn't been expecting. Okay, here these are what? These are conjunctions. The correct answer is C, since. Since I hadn't been expecting any visitors, I was wearing pajamas when the doorbell rang. Since I hadn't been expecting any visitors. First we talk about the reason. Since, and then the reason, and then the implication, what happened because of that reason. Okay. Others, while could be used as a conjunction of time. Why could be used as a conjunction of reason or interrogation. Then due to again, due to can be used again as a conjunction of reason. Right. Okay, next up we have the new school bus is parked dash the corner dash the school. In the corner, on the school, on the corner, with the school, by the corner, up the school, round the corner, from the school. I think we have done this question in prepositions. I'm not sure. I think we have. However, the correct answer is new school bus is parked round the corner from the school. Pretty easy when we're talking about like something is just round the corner. Like suppose someone asks, there's a nearby market, nearby store, and someone asks you, where's that store? You can round the corner. That is used to tell, that may be used to tell about certain direction, certain store, like, you know, it's just round the corner, which is like it is just in the next lane or leaving a lane. So it is just round the corner, right? Round here, round the corner from the school, right? Okay, here we have, I will go to the concert dash we can all go together. Unless we can all go together, only if we can all go together, consequently we can all go together, or happening that we can all go together. Here the correct answer is B, only if we can all go together. We're talking about one condition that is necessary. Like I will go to the concert only when? Only if what happens is we can all go together. Alright, so conjunction of reason. And then we have unless, again used for certain conjunction of time and condition. Also we can say unless this something happens. Consequently, talking about a consequence happening, that also can be used for a condition, for a consequence. All right. All right, here we have you shouldn't eat fish when it's hot. Okay, this is a question of the question tags. This is a question of question tags. Let's see. You shouldn't eat fish when it's hot. Are you, should you, have you, could you? All right, so for question tags, what do we have to do? First of all, you see the subject and the verb, that has to be the same. And the most important thing was, if it is a negative statement, the question tag has to be positive, and if it is a positive statement, the question tag has to be negative. So the statement here is what? Negative. And so the question tag will be positive. And that is pretty obvious because you see all the options are positive anyway. I was just revising the concept for you. Anyway, let's see. The subject and the verb has to be same. So the subject is same as everywhere, you, but the verb should, it's the same in B. So the correct answer is you shouldn't eat fish when it's hot, should you? Right? All right, next up we have, I was told that Edwin dashed well this week, which is why he could not come. Edwin isn't well this week, wasn't being well this week, hadn't been well this week, or didn't be well this week. Okay, so here the correct answer is, I was told that Edwin, C, hadn't been well this week, which is why he could not come. Hadn't been well. All right. Now here you see, why are we using hadn't been well? Because we are talking about this week a certain duration, and also talking about past. Okay, that's why he could not come, right? Others, isn't is used, isn't is simple present, then wasn't being is past continuous, then didn't be is again the past tense, right? It's a question of tenses. Very important to also recognize which grammar topic it is that we're talking about. Otherwise, you might get confused. And all these things, recognizing just at the first glance which grammar topic does this question belong to. You get it all with practice. Okay, well, let's see the next question. Okay, next up we have prices are too high and they will remain dash until inflation comes down. They will remain that, they will remain as, they will remain there, or they will remain so. Here, pretty easy. The correct answer is the prices are too high and they will remain so, which means they will remain the same until what happens? Until the inflation comes down. Okay, they will remain so. Right? Okay, here we have colonists would have left sooner dash they've been asked to leave. If they've been asked to leave, had they been asked to leave, when they've been asked to leave, or were they been asked to leave? Here the correct answer is B. Colonists would have left sooner had they been asked to leave. Which means, if they would have been asked to leave earlier. Okay. Okay. That is really not good news. Why on earth Dash have done such a thing? Would you have done such a thing? You would have done such a thing. Would have done such a thing, or you have done such a thing? All right. Here these might look confusing, but the correct answer is here. That is really not good news. Why on earth would you have done such a thing? We're asking a question. So first we ask the interrogative word first, and then we use the subject, the verb, and then the object. So why on earth would you have done such a thing? All right. I hope you've understood the correct order. Right. Let's move on. Okay, here we have a question of articles. All of dash birds in the forest are being killed by dash pollution. This is articles. Let's see. All of the birds are being killed. Okay. Now, just first of all, let's not read the options. Let's solve this on our own. All of dash birds in the forest are being killed by dash pollution. So first of all, you see here we are talking about a species, talking about a particular species, and of course the species, that's plural. So we say all of the birds, definite article we use. All of the birds in the forest are being killed by dash pollution. Now pollution is what? Abstract noun. And generally for abstract nouns, what happens? We don't necessarily use any article. So this one seems okay as well. All of the birds in the forest are being killed by pollution. Correct answer is A. Okay. Okay, here we have, there is concern that the standard of dash in Europe is much worse than it was 10 years ago. The standard of educate, standard of educating, standard of educated, or standard of education. Here, first of all, understand which part of speech are we going to fit in, which grammar thing that we are going to fit in. Noun. And noun is what? D. The standard of education in Europe is much worse than it was 10 years ago. Alright? Education, that's a noun. Educate is a verb. Educating, the gerund form of educate, educate plus ing. Then educated is an adjective. Right? Okay, here we have, I was almost ready to go out, but losing one of my shoes really threw dash spanner in the works. Really threw the spanner in the works, really threw some spanner in the works, really threw a spanner in the works, really threw like spanner in the works. Alright, so now this is actually a proverb, we can say, throwing a spanner in the works. Okay, throwing a spanner in the works. This proverb, throw a spanner. Okay, throw a spanner. So it's a proverb, throw a spanner in the works. It actually means causing something, like, something was just happening smoothly, but then something happens, an XYZ situation happens, and that prevents that particular thing from happening smoothly. So really threw dash spanner in the works. So this actually caused a hindrance. Like here, this person says, I was almost ready to go out. मतलब ये situation बहुत smoothly हो रही थी, पर क्या हुआ? Losing one of my shoes really threw the spanner in the works. So this person lost one of his shoes, and this situation actually caused a hindrance in that in the particular process. So throwing a spanner in the works. All right. Okay, here we have, I feel quite dash after that long journey, and I think I might have a cold too. I feel quite jogged down, run down, sat up, moved in. Okay, so here I feel quite run down. B. Yes, I feel quite run down after that long journey, and I think I may have a cold too. Um, Run down, it's a question of phrasal verbs. Now run down, feeling run down means, loss of energy and power. So this person after that long journey is sort of feeling run down, feeling weak. Okay, then others we have jogged down. That I'm not really sure. Actually, you can just use it for, jogging down the street or something like that. Then we have sat up, move in. These are pretty easy phrasal verbs, I think, which I'm sure you know. Sitting up, moving in somewhere, right? Okay, here we have it's dash that the hours have been changed for practice this season. It's up with that, it's not on that, it's or it's around, and it's around about that. All right. Okay, so here the correct answer is it's B, not on that the hours have been changed for practice this season. Now something the like to be not on, to be not on for something, to be not on. To be not on actually refers to when we say, this is not on, or like here it's not on that the hours have been changed, which means it is not fair, or it should not be allowed. All right, so it's not on that the hours have been changed for practice this season, right? I dash for hours if I'd been allowed to. The options are I must be talking for hours, I probably was talking for hours, I are going to talk for hours, or I would have talked for hours. Pretty easy. I would have talked for hours if I'd been allowed to. Here you have this hint also. I'd been allowed to. I'd stands for I would. Okay? I would or I had could be also used. So I would have talked, which means a certain probability, certain prediction that, I would have talked for hours if I'd been allowed to, right? Must here is used for certain obligation. And here I probably was talking, again, this is the past tense incorrect. Then here I are going. Are is not in agreement with the subject. Okay? All right, next up we'll need to discuss dash, we should close the shop. About we should close the shop, whether we should close the shop, that we should close the shop, what we should close the shop. Okay, we'll need to discuss B, whether we should close the shop. Why whether we should close the shop? Because here you see we are talking about a certain choice, like, this should happen or should not happen. So whether we should close the shop or not. All right. Okay, next up we have, it is difficult to dash the reaction to the defeat. Difficult to quantify the reaction, difficult to count the reaction, difficult to develop the reaction, or difficult to recompense the reaction to the defeat. Okay, so here the correct answer is, it is difficult to quantify the reaction to the defeat. Quantify refers to, measuring some sort of measuring its quantity or its amount. So quantifying the reaction to the defeat, right? Okay, next up, there is great dash between the new teacher and I. Great attitude, great rapport, great happiness, or great encouragement. Correct answer, correct, which one fits? There's great rapport between the new teacher and I. These are all nouns over here. Great rapport actually refers to a great bond. Okay, a great connection, a great bond between the new teacher and I. B. Okay, here the results of the experiments will be dashed in the next class, damaged in the next class, underplayed in the next class, scrutinized in the next class, or positioned in the next class. Okay, here all of these are verbs. We have to choose the correct answer. Yes, the results of the experiment will be scrutinized in the next class, which means sort of analyzed. And so the results, whatever, they will be analyzed, and how they have figured, how they have come out. So these results will be scrutinized in the next class, right? Or damaged, or underplayed, or positioned. These are all verbs. Okay, here the choir sang in dash for the first time today. In unison, in botanical, in connection, or in definition. The choir sang in unison. Unison, singing in unison, which means singing together in unity with coordination, all right? The choir sang in unison for the first time today. Alright, now for questions 25 and 26, we have to choose the correct synonym of the given word. Synonyms are what? The words with similar meanings. Okay, so here the word we have is tamper. The options we have are medal, tryout, imply, and conscience. Okay, so now tamper, the synonym, the word which means similar is medal. Tampering, like tampering with something, is actually referred to as, interfering with something. Again, that's the synonym of meddle. Meddle also, coming in the middle of something. Okay, that's tampering, meddling, interfering with something. Okay. Alright, next up we have revamp. Here the options are destruct, overhaul, evolve, or deride. Okay, now revamping of something. Revamping is something is sort of modifying that particular thing. Like here, similar to overhaul. Overhaul of machinery or overhaul of some particular place, completely evolving it. So that could be revamp or overhaul. The other words, destruct is spoil something, and then deride. Deride is also actually criticizing something, ridiculing something, all right? Then we have evolve. Evolve actually could be synonymous to revamp, but in a distant sense, because here overhaul is more similar. Overhaul is more similar to revamp. That's why we use it as a synonym here. There might be questions which have, which may seem like they have more than one synonym, but you choose the one which has the closest meaning. So here overhaul has the closest meaning, and evolve could be a distant synonym, not really a direct one. Okay. All right, next up we have for questions 27 and 28, choose the correct antonym of the given word. The word here is rigor. And the options are rediscovery, accountability, laxity, and emptiness. Choose the antonym, which means the word which means the opposite. Be very careful in these antonyms and synonym questions. You might mark a synonym for an antonym, might mark an antonym for a synonym, so just be careful. Choose the correct antonym, the word which means the opposite. The options are rediscovery, accountability, laxity, and emptiness. Rigor is sort of, a strength or certain motivation for something. So the opposite could be laxity. Laxity, certain lax behavior, this behavior of procrastination, that baad mein kar lenge, let's a relaxed attitude. Okay. All right, next word we have is rowdy. The options here are restrained, energetic, concerted, or practically. All right, so here the correct answer, the opposite of rowdy is restrained. Rowdy is someone who is, um, out of control and wild, whereas restrained is something that is controlled and behaving within the norms, like that. Okay. All right, here we have for questions 29 and 30. Choose the option with the correct spelling. Let's see. What is the spelling of the word that means to pay someone? Okay, so here what we have to do here, first of all, this is one word substitution. Then we recognize the word, and after that we have to choose the correct spelling. So two in one sort of question. The spelling of the word that means to pay someone. To pay someone is called remunerate, and the correct spelling is D, remunerate. All right. So here we have what is the spelling of the word that means language used in ordinary conversation. Okay, the language that is used in ordinary conversation is referred to as colloquial. Here the correct spelling is A. Colloquial. Right? Alright, now we move on to the next section. This is the reading section. Let's start. Okay, so here for questions 31 to 35, what we have to do is read this passage and answer the questions that follow. Let's read this passage quickly and then we'll be answering the questions. Experts predict myopia or nearsightedness will reach epidemic proportions by the end of the decade, with over a third of the world's population requiring glasses or contact lenses. However, if a team of ophthalmologists from a medical center in Jerusalem have their way, the crisis may be averted with special nano drops created to correct refractive errors responsible for nearsightedness, farsightedness, or blurred vision. So here you see we have we are saying that there is this prediction about myopia, nearsightedness that is going to be so exponential that about a third of the world's population, which means 1/3 of the world will be having myopia, nearsightedness. But then we also say that there is this team of doctors in Jerusalem and they say that there might be these nano drops which could help in this scenario, right? Then we say the professor of electrical engineering and nanophotonics at Bar Ilan University, who worked on the project, says that the procedure requires 3 simple steps. Alright, so now they're talking about a certain procedure which requires 3 simple steps for probably helping with myopia, nearsightedness. Let's read. Prospective patients will begin by using a smartphone app to measure their eyes' refractive index. Okay, first step is these patients, whosoever these patients are, they will be using an app and measure their eyes' refractive index. And then a laser pattern based on the app's calculation will then be created and projected onto the surface of each eye. So this second step is what? This laser pattern which will be formed as per the app's calculation and will be projected on the eye surface. The final step will be to put a predetermined number of drops which contain special nanoparticles into each eye. So they have talked about 3 steps. First is this app, second is this laser pattern, and third is whatever these drops are that have to be put into each eye. Next up, we have the researcher explains these nanoparticles go into the shallow laser patterns generated on the surface of the eye and change the refraction index inside those patterns. This corrects the visual problem the user has. The best part is the procedure can be conducted at home without the presence of a medical doctor. The team leader asserts the technique is far less painful and invasive than laser surgery. It is a new concept for correcting refractory problems. The treatment has thus far only been successfully tested on animals. Okay, so now we're talking about its benefits, that they go into the shallow laser patterns, change the refraction index, and here it can be conducted at home. You don't need medical supervision for it. Okay. Then we talk about this concept that it is new and this treatment has only so far been successful on animals. Only animal testing has been done. Then they say the team, which hopes to start human trials soon, believes it will take at least 2 years before the revolutionary eye drops will be available on the market. In addition to ensuring they are safe and effective for humans, the researchers will have to determine the dosage needed to correct the different conditions and also how frequently the treatment will have to be administered to keep the patient's eyesight sharp. Okay, so here they are saying that they still need to do human trials, and there's certain sort of safety measures that need to be developed, and how much dosage for different conditions, they have to figure that out. Then we say researchers say the rise in myopia in kids can be attributed to the increasingly large amount of time spent on computers and phones. Studies have proven that just 2 or 3 hours of daily sunshine exposure can reduce vision-related issues dramatically. So set aside a digital device and head out for a bike ride, run or stroll. It will not only help you see better, but also make you healthier. Okay, so we end up with sort of a lesson that kids these days, they have such amount spent on computers and phones. It is quite ironic that we're telling this while you are either on your computer or your phone and watching this class. However, we say that we cannot really help it, because it is the digital age, and everything is linked with technology, and especially in this time, when everything from your education or your games, everything is on the screen, right? So but still, how can we reduce it? How can we help it? Here it says, set aside digital devices, head out for a bike ride, run, or a stroll. Not only help you see better, but also make you healthier, right? Now let's move to its questions. Here we have, choose the best title or heading for the passage. Options are: a drop away from perfect vision, more sport and less work helps vision, fewer people need glasses now, or all the better for new glasses. Okay, so it actually depends on you to choose whichever title you like, but however, it is necessary that since these are objective questions, so you choose the one which is um, most suitable in depicting the theme of the passage. So which one depicts the theme? Here, a drop away from perfect vision, right? A. Okay, next up we have, what is used to monitor the eye? Glasses, computer, otoscope, or smartphone. Okay, you remember they talked about these steps. So the step was, first these prospective patients, they will begin by using a smartphone app to measure their eyes refractive index. So the answer is D, smartphone. Okay, next this one says, where should it all take place? In a specially designed room, in hospital, outside in the sun, or at home? Okay, now as we studied, what is the one of the good parts of this, that yeah, it can be conducted at home without the presence of a medical doctor. So the answer is D, at home. Okay, next up, how long will it be before the drops can be purchased? 2 year, 1 year, 3 years, or less than a year? Okay, now they talked about here. They believe it takes at least 2 years before the revolutionary eye drops will be available. So about 2 years. A. Alright, next up we have, what does the word stroll mean in the final paragraph? Deliver, amble, visualize, or sit. Now where was stroll? We talked about here. Going for a bike ride, run, or stroll. Now stroll actually refers to going for a sort of, we can say, walk, or this brisk walking. No, not big. Brisk is actually a faster walking. Slow, relaxed walking. Okay, so here stroll, and then is similar to be amble. Amble also refers to slow walking, just relaxing outside. Okay. All right, here we have the next passage. Let's read through this. For questions 36 to 40, read the passage and answer the questions that follow. Okay. In January 2000 something, as Amazon Incorporation stocks soared to an all-time high, its founder and CEO Jeff Bezos, who owns 17% of the company, dethroned Microsoft billionaire Bill Gates to become the world's richest person. Okay. Since then, the company's stock has risen an additional 20%, increasing the entrepreneur's net worth from $105 billion to $125 billion. To put it in perspective, that is more than the GDP of over 125 of the world's now 195 countries. Okay, so this is pretty easy English. I don't really think I need to explain any of it. Let's read further. The incredible journey began in 1994 when Bezos was working as a software engineer for a global investment management company. One day, while surfing the internet for new investment ideas, he read that the worldwide usage was increasing by 2,300% every month. The impressive statistic gave him an idea. What if he could use this fast-growing new medium to sell goods to the public? Though pursuing his dream would mean leaving his nice job that came with a six-figure salary, the then 30-year-old was convinced that he was on the right track. Okay. Next we read, after considering about 20 potential products, including software and CDs, Bezos decided to sell books. They were easy to package, hard to damage, and most importantly, his virtual store could offer all of the millions of books titles available, something even the biggest physical stores were unable to accommodate. After scouting out locations across the US, the entrepreneur and his wife Mackenzie chose the Seattle, Washington metropolitan area for their new venture. Next, in addition to being home to a big pool of high-tech talent that would be needed to build the online store, it was also sold close to Instagram Book Group's Oregon warehouse. Bezos and 5 employees began building the world's first virtual bookstore inside the garage of his home. The first order of business was to find a suitable name. After his first choice was misunderstood, he eventually decided on Amazon. In July 1995, Amazon.com opened its doors to customers with over 1 million book titles. They initially rang a bell to celebrate every sale. However, the fun tradition had to be abandoned within a few months as book sales escalated sharply. After expanding the offerings to include CDs and videos, Bezos sent out 1,000 emails to existing customers asking them what else they would like delivered to their doors. In 2005, recognizing that customers wanted their orders quickly and without paying exorbitant rates, Bezos introduced the subscription-based Amazon Prime. In 2012, he made the $99 annual membership even more attractive with Amazon Video, which, in addition to streaming movies and television shows, also produced original shows. In 2017, the company made its first foray into physical stores with the acquisition of leading organic grocery chain Whole Foods. And Bezos is not done yet. In January 2018, Amazon announced it was partnering with 2 other companies to form a single company to provide US workers and families with better health insurance options than what is currently available. Alright, this was a pretty easy passage. This just talks about Amazon's journey and how Jeff Bezos got the idea and finally how it grew. You know, they've actually included decades of Amazon in just two, three paragraphs, which is amazing. However, this was just a simple inspiration, we can say, you know, and a simple passage. Now let's move on to its questions. Okay, now this one says, choose the best title or heading for the passage. A shop like a jungle, Journey of Amazon, Get Rich Quick, or setting up a global company. So here, which title depicts the theme? Journey of Amazon. Pretty easy. Okay, here, which industry did Bezos work in before setting up Amazon.com? Literary, sales and marketing, financial, or internet? Okay, so here, where was it? Bezos was working as a software engineer for a global investment management company. So investment management company is what? Financial. C. Okay, this one says, why did Bezos email his customers? To sell fewer CDs and more books, or to get bigger subscriptions, or to develop better marketing, or to get more ideas? Now, Bezos, here, where was it? Yes, he sent out 1,000 emails to existing customers asking them what else they would like delivered to their doors. So, D, to get more ideas. Okay, here we have Amazon has moved from a bookshop to helping foreign families, selling cars, making TV shows, or selling fast food. So Amazon has moved from a bookshop to, we know, making TV shows, Amazon Prime Video, right? Okay, here we have foray. What is the meaning of the word foray in the last paragraph? The options are venture, route, tunnel, or situation. Here, the company made its first foray into physical stores. It's like a venture. So A. All right. All right. Now we move on to the next section of spoken and written expression. Let's start. Okay, here what do we have to do in questions 41 to 45? Choose the correct option to complete each conversation. Josh says, I visited quite a few tropical countries, but dash, I have never seen a crocodile before today. But strangest, but strangely, but strange, or but stranger. Okay, so here the correct answer is, I visited quite a few tropical countries, but strangely, I have never seen a crocodile before today. So strangely is an adverb over here, as an adverb clause we use, but strangely I have never seen a crocodile before today. Strangest is the superlative adjective, est. Strange is an adjective, positive degree. Stranger is the comparative degree adjective. Okay, here we have I'm never allowed to get dash anything with my brother and his friend. Get in on anything, get at it anything, get up with anything, or get down to anything. Okay, so here the correct answer is, okay, get in on anything with my brother and his friends. It actually means, never really allowed to be involved with this brother and his friends. Okay. Here we have, what position will you come in the competition? Jarek says, I honestly haven't a dash and I don't really care either. I honestly haven't a direction, haven't a help, haven't a clue, or haven't a guessing. I honestly haven't a clue, which means I have no idea and I don't really care either. Okay? Correct answer is C. Okay, here Sam says, what is the name of the team that won the league? Dave says, I don't know. Dash, it's the Tiger. Instantly, it's the Tiger. Must be, it's the Tigers. Obviously, it's the Tigers, or perhaps it's the Tigers. So here, the correct answer is, I don't know. Perhaps it's the Tigers. Probably, sort of guessing. So perhaps it's the Tigers. Okay, next up, Ali says, Dash on arriving early was never going to work out for this trip. Going on arriving early, getting on arriving early, planning on arriving early, or thinking on arriving early. So here the correct answer is C. Planning on arriving early was never going to work out for this trip. Here all these are what? Gerunds, which are acting as noun and describing a certain activity, planning on arriving early. Okay. All right, now we have the achievers section. Let's move on to the last five most important questions. Okay, for questions 46 and 47, choose the correct option to fill in the blank. Let's see. No sooner had the doors opened, dash all the flies came into the living room. But all the flies came, so all the flies came, then all the flies came, or that all the flies came. This is pretty easy because no sooner did something happen that the other thing also happened. The correct answer is C. These are what? Correlative conjunctions. Worked in prayer, work in prayer. Sorry, work in pairs. No sooner did the first thing happen than the second thing also happened. Alright. But is used for contrasting statements, so is used giving a reason, and that is used to talk about a consequence or something. Alright. Okay, next up we have, I don't really see how this could be dash for so long and in such an incredibly secure environment. How this could be happen, how this could be happens, how this could be happened, or how this could be happening. Correct answer is, how could this be happening for so long in such an incredibly secure environment? Just make sure when we talk about certain duration, whenever we are talking about a duration, there has to be a continuous tense used. All right. So here D, happening. Alright, now here the next word is variegated. The options are empty, trampled, plain and vibrant. You choose the antonym. Be careful. Antonym is the word which is opposite in me. Okay. So variegated is a word which means, something which is colorful. Alright. So here the opposite could be empty, trampled, plain or vibrant. Plain. And here vibrant could be a synonym. Okay, next word we have is gregarious. Here the options are reliable, sociable, retrievable or believable. Okay, so here we have to choose a synonym, the word with a similar meaning. Okay, so gregarious refers to someone who is sociable, fond of people's company. That's sociable, gregarious. All right. Okay, next up we have choose the correct option to complete the conversation. Dravinder says it's not such a big deal. You just have to get dash and look forward. Get over it, get up it, get in it, get down it. Correct answer is you just have to get over it, which means you just have to forget it. Get over it. Just move on. Alright? Okay, so yes, with this we finished off our questions on the sample paper. All the questions of the sample paper have been done. This was 50th, the last question. Okay.
So that's all for our class on sample paper. I hope that you have understood all the classes, whatever concepts we have done, make sure you revise them. If you made any mistakes in this class, make sure you go back and revise these concepts so that you're able to analyze your strengths and weaknesses carefully. Alright, so keep on involving English in your life. I wish you all the best. Thank you for watching.